Hello, my presentation is about John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and Civil Rights by Marty Holmes. John F. Kennedy was the 35th president. John F. Kennedy showed sympathy to Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement when segregation still existed in the South. John F. Kennedy was a respectable, honorable young man. John received a cablegram at his school from his father, which shows his character. As Wildman notes, two things I always knew about you. One, that you are smart. Two, that you are a swell guy. After graduating from Harvard, John F. Kennedy felt the need to serve his country. While in the Navy, his boat was destroyed. He heroically led his men on a swim to an island while tugging an injured crewman. This was a brave and compassionate act. After his brother Joe's death, his father persuaded him to get involved with politics by saying he should make his family proud. Kennedy felt it was his duty to make his family proud, and he wanted to honor his brother's memory. So he ran for a seat in the House of Representatives for Massachusetts and won. John F. Kennedy was a good man. As he said, every American ought to have the right to be treated as he would wish to be treated, as one would wish his children to be treated. He was genuinely concerned for all mankind. John F. Kennedy had compassion for the world. Peace Corps is his humanitarian effort. He was interested in improving wages, lowering prices, cheaper rents for the poor, and more Social Security for older Americans. John F. Kennedy was also an author. He wrote Profiles in Courage in 1956. This book was about American political leaders that took a stand against the status quo. This book could have been inspirational for the stand he would take against segregation and allowing him to show empathy for the civil rights movement. A Chance Encounter. John F. Kennedy met Martin Luther King while Kennedy was a senator of Massachusetts. He respected King and what he was doing in the South. He expressed interest in learning about the civil rights movement. Claiborne suggests he just didn't know Negroes generally, and he hadn't had any experience in the civil rights struggle. Common ground. John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King had many discussions about the question of civil rights. Martin Luther King appealed to Kennedy's interest in civil rights legislation. An act of kindness. John F. Kennedy called Coretta and made arrangements that led to the release of Martin Luther King when he was in jail. He wanted her to know he cared. As Livingston claims, Kennedy was in a quiet way sympathetic to the suffering of others and had a reflexive dislike of unfairness. He could have shown sympathy because he himself was a husband and a father. John F. Kennedy invited Martin Luther King to the White House. As Branch claims, in spite of King had been indicted and tried for violating segregation laws embedded in the constitutions of the southern states, and he'd been denounced by the same governors who supported the president. America criticized. JFK resented criticism when he went to Vienna. He was embarrassed. This happened due to the harsh treatment of protesters in Birmingham, Alabama, after being caught on camera. Kennedy became more involved with the civil rights movement. He sent troops to maintain control of the situation at Mississippi University because white Southerners didn't approve of a black student attending the university. Kennedy said, "The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated." Kennedy's third year of office. He made civil rights legislation a priority. Claiborne says Kennedy placed a strong civil rights bill at the top of the congressional calendar. John F. Kennedy believed in the basic constitutional rights of every man. Good people cannot be silent when injustice is present. Kennedy said that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. In conclusion, Kennedy showed a life of integrity, sincerity, and concern for his fellow man. He showed empathy for Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement when segregation still existed in the South through his actions. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.